Hello, I want to thank you for joining us tonight to hear more about the work of a local group here in Eugene called Huerto de la Familia, which translates to the family garden. My name is Juliet Bender, and I'm president of the OSU Lane County Master Gardeners Association. And I'd like to welcome you to our monthly seminar series, which are held the third Tuesday of the month at 6:30. All of these seminars are recorded and posted on our YouTube channel. Questions will be handled at the end of the talk, but feel free to put any questions in the Q&A box at any time. Jen Gano, Vice President of our group, will coordinate these questions. Also, for tonight's talk, closed captioning is available. It can be turned on or off with the CC button, closed captioning button on your screen. I think that's all of our housekeeping issues for today. Let me introduce our speakers now. Our speakers tonight are Gatlin Alshuyukh, the Organic Garden Program Manager of Huerto de la Familia. She is passionate about healthy, biodiverse soils and preserving family and cultural identity through growing your own food. And our second speaker is Elva Webster, the Garden and Community Engagement Coordinator at Huerto de la Familia. Originally from Michoacan, Mexico, Elva's passion is experimenting with growing traditional plant varieties from Mexico. They will be discussing the scope of Huerto de la Familia's work and how their 7 community gardens across Lane County create spaces for Latinx and immigrant families to grow their own organic produce and thrive together in community. So now I will turn the program over to Gatlin.
Hi everybody, how you doing? My name is Gatlin, and I'm going to share with Elva today about how our community gardens create spaces which support our gardeners and growing their own abundant organic produce, and also in growing in interconnected and resilient communities. I'm going to start screen sharing and go to our presentation now. Okay, so I'll share a little bit about myself. So my name is Gatlin Alshuyukh, and I'm a lifelong gardener by way of my mom. My mom had community garden plots at both the Amazon Community Garden in Eugene and the Alton Baker Community Garden. So I had a lot of experience growing up, weeding, helping her in those spaces. I think that I've definitely grown to have an appreciation for that more later in life. And I also have worked, I have a degree in cultural and community studies from the Evergreen State College, and most of the credits, or a lot of the credits that I used to complete my degree were done through internships. And I mostly worked with Latinx and immigrant serving nonprofits in cooperative development, sexual assault and domestic violence, advocacy, and literacy. My capstone assignment or internship for that degree was with Huerto de la Familia. I started by working in the Cambios business program as an intern, and also in the garden program. I became the garden program assistant and later the garden program manager. For the last 4 years, I've worked with the organization, and I've been a community member, a community gardener also with the organization. So I'm going to let Elva share about herself now.
Hi, everybody. As Juliet was mentioning, my name is Elva Webster, and I'm the Garden and Community Engagement Coordinator for the Huerto de la Familia program. I'm originally from Morelia, Michoacan, Mexico. I live in Eugene for 22 years, and I am married and I have 2 daughters since, and I've been member from the garden about 6 years now. So, and I'm being, 6 years ago, I was introduced to the program from a coworker, and since then, I just fallen in love every single day. So, and now more than I start working with the program, about year. I started a year ago, so I'm just, yeah. I feel like a baby learning so much about it, because before I just worked being a seamstress. So sewing industry, I didn't know much about gardening, except for my background. My parents, we are from a really small community in Mexico. So we grow our corn, everything, most everything that we, eat in the family. Okay, I'm going to pass on to Gatlin so she can continue with
Okay.
her speech.
I also just want to say that all of these photos that are in this slideshow are from our work phones or our personal phones, and we're sharing some of our very favorite moments from our time as members and also as staff people. And I'm going to draw everybody's attention to the photo on the right of Elva holding a rabbit. That was just last week when she got a rabbit. She caught a rabbit with her bare hands in one of our community gardens. It was a pet. I think it was escaped, but just, I think that's a snapshot into the exciting things we do.
It was an adventure too.
So I want to speak a little bit about our organization at home. We both started working with Huerto de la Familia, but Huerto de la Familia recently went through a merger with Downtown Languages and Centro Latino Americano. So we're the three largest immigrant serving nonprofits in Lane County, and we've come together to better serve the community. We continue to offer all of the same services and programs that we offered individually as our own three individual nonprofits. And actually, we're just continuing to grow. So we offer the community social services. We have a robust substance use disorder program. We have a counseling program open to clients of all ages. We have an education department where we offer adult literacy, ESL, driver's license prep, citizenship test prep, computation, and then we have two family education programs. One is called the PILAS program, and it's a family literacy program. So adults learn English as a Spanish second language, and the kids are able to study, get homework help. Also, they have like fun activities, cultural activities, and they kind of learn together, which is really amazing. And they also have a youth leadership academy in partnership with Lane Community College, where youth participate in abilities to build their leadership skills, to become kind of prepared to be an adult. And that's a really cool program that the garden program typically also partners with. So part of the reason that we merged is we had been working, we had long histories of working together as independent nonprofits. And we also had many clients that, maybe over the years had received services from the different nonprofits. So we came together and we're really growing and doing a good job of serving the community. I'm going to focus on the garden program, which is what we're here to talk about today. So we have 6 community gardens throughout Lane County, soon to be 8. Our community gardens, we have one in Bethel, one in Santa Clara, one in West Eugene, one in downtown Eugene, one near Trader Joe's, sort of Oakway area. And we have one in, oh my goodness, Springfield. Yeah, Springfield. And we are going to have one more in Springfield and one in Cottage Grove in the year to come, which is really exciting. All of our landowners, so we don't own any of the property that we garden on, that we have our community gardens on. Our landowner partners are typically schools, parks and rec departments for cities, or churches or other kind of larger organizations that can support our needs, which is a large amount of land and some help with some of the maintenance with the irrigation, things like that. I would say, so our community gardens are similar to a lot of community gardens. We have things that are in common, right? Families have their own plot. They get to choose what they plant. They have full autonomy within the bounds of their lot, but they also garden within a garden contract, which is something that's pretty typical. It's a series of community agreements that we all kind of abide by. So for example, basic, don't build a fence, don't take other people's vegetables or produce, and we're an all organic space, so don't use any chemical pesticides or fertilizers. What we provide is atypical for a lot of community garden programs. We provide almost all of the seeds and plant starts that folks could need to have a successful year. We provide ongoing education throughout the year, different things that could help gardeners to be successful. We provide a lot of other community resources beyond education and material items. And our 6 community gardens are managed by 2 full-time staff, which is Elva and I, as well as a third person who's split between our program and another program, and her name is Esme. And we also typically have 1 to 2 college or high school age interns that work with us. So who are our gardeners? We work with approximately 200 households, and they're primarily first and second generation Latinx or immigrant households. A lot of the folks come from Oaxaca in Mexico. We have a lot of folks also from Guatemala. So all of our services are offered in Spanish, but if you go into the garden, you can hear a number of languages being spoken. There's people speaking English, Spanish, Spanglish, and a number of indigenous languages to Central and South America. We foster long-term relationships with the families who garden with us. And some folks have had gardens for 16 plus years. This family right here in Springfield has had their garden for over a decade, and you can see that her kids have grown up in this space, which is really exciting. There's a whole generation of young adults who've grown up in these community gardens since our garden programs began in 1999. So our gardens are spaces of abundance. There is some really amazing gardeners that are part of our garden program. You can see many different crops, many food crops, medicinal herbs, some plants that maybe folks listening might consider a weed or a wild food. We also, many of the people that are gardening with us, they come from agricultural communities, kind of like what Elva said. So they have a background in agriculture, maybe not in this region, but they have a strong agricultural knowledge before becoming gardeners with us. And a lot of the folks that we have in our program, once they come to the US, might find work in agriculture as well, or landscaping or something that's kind of related. So there's a lot of carrying over skills and knowledge. So spaces of abundance, for sure. Another thing that's kind of cool about our community gardens is that you can see examples of the food and also different agricultural styles or methods that come from folks' home communities. So for example, here we've got Marcelina with some corn leaves.
Corn leaves.
And that's not typically something that people are harvesting in other community gardens in Lane County, but she's going to use them to make tamales. On the left, you can see a lot of baby peppers, and these are chile de agua peppers, which is a spicy pepper coming from Oaxaca, like southern Mexico. And when I said you can see different styles of agriculture or different methods of agriculture, you'll notice that each of these little plants is planted in a divot, and this is a really efficient way to make sure that all of your water is being used and not wasted. And I'm going to hop back a couple slides. You can also see a different kind of method of watering, which is flood irrigation, which maybe you don't see in other community gardens in Lane County. But flood irrigation, composting in troughs under the food, and then specialty crops are some things that you definitely will see in our gardens. So I will say that our community gardens are definitely places of pride, places where people are able to share their abilities, places where people are able to share their cultural pride, their pride about their cuisine, and kind of show off. A lot of the gardeners like to tell you that, I grew enough chiles to last me until this season, and I still have some. Or I have tomatoes canned from the year before last, but I just put up 5 pounds, or things like that. It's really beautiful, and that's something that we really like to share in. It's also here, for example, this was a gardener's third harvest of chiles. So that's an entire wheelbarrow full of chile de aguas. And then underneath there's a bucket. I think that's like, I don't know. It's not a 5-gallon, smaller, but it's a big bucket of habaneros. And she has two 15 by 20 foot plots. So that's pretty impressive to be her third harvest of the season. Another thing that our community gardens kind of provide is they're places to share your love of gardening, your passion for growing your own food, a connection to the earth with your children. It's a place where you can help instill your family's values around work or labor, around food, or around community with your children. It's a place for kids to grow together, to play together, to spend time with other children, with their family. And it's really nice because people are able to learn and maintain their traditions around agriculture and food. And it's definitely a multi-generational space. So one thing that's kind of lovely is sometimes you'll see 3 generations out in the garden working together on an evening. And that's something that, I don't know, I personally really appreciate. Yeah, here's more examples of that. I'm going to say that a lot of the general maintenance of the community spaces and the special projects are conceived by our community members and actually completed by them. So here are some folks, they're standing around, we've got staff and program members here, and they are standing around some greenhouse tables, some potting tables that they made out of recycled pallets. So that's an example. We have a lot of folks with a lot of special skills and abilities that come from their experience or from life experience or from their professions. And we couple that with a lot of extra hands and we get some pretty amazing things done. Let's see. We pitch in labor to help out the other members when they need something. So that's something I also don't necessarily see in other community gardens that I really appreciate about ours. So for example, if a gardener is ill or working a lot or pregnant or, you know, has some maybe older even and needs a hand, we frequently help other folks out. In this garden, you can see members of 3 different households, not related, helping to till this woman's plot, which I think is really lovely. And then on the photo on the right, this is a couple community volunteers that we have here from the Missions Life Change program. They also support us with our maintenance needs, and they are standing in front of Elva's super duper tall corn. So everybody take note of the corn because we're going to talk about it a little bit later. An example of a project or a need that we met that was conceived of by our program members and then that we kind of, you know, realized with our community, our program members, was the need for a large greenhouse. So this year was the first year of having the greenhouse fully completed. It's at the Churchill Community Garden. It was built by us, for us, and same with the tables. It's a place that we're really hoping to start a new kind of greenhouse program. It will allow us to lengthen our growing season, which will let us grow warmer weather crops. And it's also helpful because hopefully then we'll be able to collect and store more of the seeds from plants or varietals, which are important to our community members. Foods that are culturally relevant, some examples Elva will share about later. And also, I know just from, this is not really like something organized by the program, but I know that there's individual gardeners who are going to be overwintering a number of chile plants. We're going to do experimenting and try to overwinter chipil. We're going to bring in some corn maybe. And I think some people are bringing citrus plants from home. So we have kind of individual projects happening. We also have program projects happening. Our hope is in the spring with help from a high school class who is going to help us with the kind of ongoing labor to grow a number of culturally relevant, important chiles to then distribute back to the community gardeners. So that's what's happening kind of on the more organizational level. Here's some more photos of the greenhouse. I'm going to let Elva talk about her experience a little bit more as a garden member And then we'll talk about community partnerships and other ways that our gardens are kind of connected with the broader community of Lane County.
Okay. So like I mentioned, I'm being member for 6 years, and then and also mentioned that I had the background of my parents being campesinos. So I helped them, I learned, I saw them doing it, but honestly, I hated when I was little because for me, it wasn't really enjoyable. But now it's something that it is in my blood, I guess. And it's something that I love now. I can imagine my life without plants, flowers, corn, experimenting. Every year I'm trying to experiment with different plants from Mexico, especially storm with corn. So if you saw those big, tall corn plants, there were seeds that I bring from Mexico. And then my issue with those so far, like I said, I experimented, but they grow so tall, but they don't produce. But it's an experience, experiment, I'm learning. So hopefully next year I'm going to make them to grow less and produce more. Also, if you see the plants, it's in front of the corn. It's Jamaica. So I'm experimenting with Jamaica too. So I know it's a really tropical plant. Maybe some of you know the Jamaica, the flower that we use to make agua fresca. So that's pretty much the plant I have in front of the corn. So I'm experimenting with different kind of cactus, growing cactus. So far I have a success. I make 5 of them grow really nice. I give them away already. I only keep 2, but my experience is been it's been amazing. It's overall, I think my experience with the program, it's been helped me. How can I say that? Being a great cultural, emotional, and economic benefit to me and my family. It's a bless to work outdoors. Because before most of my life, I work in companies. Companies mostly it's a box without windows. If you're lucky, have some. So pretty much it's indoor work. So since I started working with the program a year ago, I'm being blessed. I'm practicing what my roots I have from my family, and also experimenting and learning how to do it, because the climate is totally different from here in this area, from San Carlos. That's the name of the town I grew up. So that was really hot weather. So it's way different. So that's something. That's the biggest challenge, is to make things grow in this climate that I don't know much. So, but with the program, we are getting so much help and being educated how to produce more in this climate here. Thank you, Abby.
Great. All right, I'm going to talk about community partnerships that we have, which are pretty amazing. We have some really wide-ranging partnerships with different businesses, other nonprofits, governmental organizations, and community groups. We work, for example, I'm just going to name a couple. So we work with the Eugene Public Library to host bilingual Mommy and Me story times. The woman and her son on the left had just attended a story time at the garden, and then we gave her a free tomato to take home to grow at our house. She's happy about it. On the right, we have this really exciting exchange that we've begun this year with women from the Greenhouse and Gardens program from the Capaces Leadership Institute in Woodburn. They work on the Anahuac farm. They're program members there. And so we're going to be touring each other's programs, learning from each other, which has been also really amazing. We did an awesome partnership with the Mount Pisgah Arboretum this year. We had guided the first Spanish language and bilingual guided nature walks out at Pisgah. We talked about native pollinators, wild bees, medicinal and edible plants. And we culminated all of our hikes, nature walks, with a really beautiful event called the Dia del Campo y Comunidad. And it was a community event to make to help our folks feel more of a sense of ownership and belonging in this public outdoor space. So we have some girls from Ballet Folklorico, no, Ballet Colibri, excuse me, Ballet Colibri performing. It was one of their first performances, and they did great. Here's the students on the left that are going to help us grow plants for us in the spring from the Rachel Carson Academy, Helen Haberman's class. You might recognize Jet on the right. She was coming not as a part of the Lane County Master Gardeners, but she was coming as a member of Herbalists Without Borders, and she was talking about Tulsi with our medicinal plants group. And Elva talking about her cactuses with some folks from the U of O. Education is a really important part of our garden program. We invite student groups to come learn with us, and we also create a number of ways for our program members to learn in the program too. Our staff offers a really basic beginning gardening course. I said a lot of our garden program members come with agricultural knowledge already, but we teach folks about how to grow vegetables well in this region, in this climate. And so we have that class. It's adapted from the Siembra la Cena course or Seed to Supper class. And then other than that, I would say about 98% of our classes are member-led. At the beginning of the growing season, we survey our program members and ask, what do you want to learn about? What are workshops or classes that were interesting that you've attended in the past? What do you want to do again? And from that, we find community members who have the skill and are willing to share. Here are some photos from tomato canning classes that we had at the Peterson Bar. Last year, Marina was teaching one, Marcelina on the right. We busted out some salsa for lunch. Some of the tomatoes did not get canned. They got eaten that day, and that was awesome. We have Goya teaching us soil health and cover cropping class. This one's an annual event that we hold at the Game Bird Community Garden. Then we do a tour of the Food for Lane County Youth Farm to talk about overwintering crops, about cover crops, about season extension. We got Elvia here. She is part of the medicinal plants group talking about fermented drinks. She's making tepache and kombucha and water kefir.
Kefir.
Yeah, and I think we actually might be, I want to go back to the Zoom and see kind of where we're at time-wise, if we need to get to questions soon. I think we still have some time. So, goodness, sorry guys. We're not just all growing food and taking classes. We also do a lot of really exciting celebrations. Maybe Elva wants to say a couple words. These are from the Churchill Fiesta de la Cosecha, which is the harvest festival.
Yes, so we still have like Fiesta de la Cosecha for each individual garden. So far we have a Game Bird garden in Springfield and Churchill. We have beehives. Yeah, beehives. So we're learning. We're taking classes to learn how to take care of them. But that day in the Fiesta de la Cosecha, we did a demonstration. And then, which is really popular for people. They love to participate, and we were lucky that we had that kit, the kit suit. So it was, different kids wanted to try it, but it's just one size, so it was kind of hard to find one. Anyway, so, and also there is Miguel, is a son of one of the members that is a little more expert in that area. So he lead the demonstration. So, and we were just getting some honey from the hive, and it was just delicious and really excited to share with the members of that day.
So each harvest festival that we have in the fall at each of the community gardens, it is a time for the community to come together, to share a meal. We have a big potluck meal, and we usually do a class or a demo or something. And that's what the beekeeping was happening. More community partnerships. These are some photos from the Dia del Agricultor Latino, the day of the Latino agriculture farmer. Mm-hmm. And this is a really amazing partnership. I don't know if we have a lot of time, so we're not going to talk about it right now. And here's some more photos from some more workshops and classes. This is Esme on the left getting her face painted. She's our other full-time staff person for the garden program. Here is a really awesome event that Elva led last week. It's a tomato canning event. Marina, one of our garden members, she led a tomato canning workshop out in the open air at the Churchill Community Garden. And it was followed up by a performance by the girls from Ballet Colibri. And we had just about 75 people show up to watch the dancers, to learn how to can tomatoes. It was really beautiful. All right, this is my personal favorite photo, I think, from the program. I think it's precious, and I think it does a good job of kind of capturing why we do the work that we do. I'll let it speak for itself. Here's our contact information. Please take a photo if you'd like. And then I'm going to share, actually, I'll leave this up. I'm going to share about different ways that you guys can get involved with our organization, support the work that we do. You can spread the word about our work. You can donate, of course, funds to support our mission of the greater organization, or you can donate your time. You can contribute your volunteer time or your specialty skills. You can attend work parties, so you can reach out to me and that emails. Typically, we try to plan work parties with maybe 5+ people. We work on different projects in the community gardens, or if you're a solo volunteer, we can find one that's already happening and invite you to it. Our volunteer needs can be kind of sporadic, so we don't have regular drop-in volunteer hours. However, we can find it, we would love to have you, and we can find a great time for you to come out and help us as well. If you have new or used gardening supplies that you want to donate, we are always happy to take them. Again, there's 200 households in our garden program and almost 8 community gardens. That's a lot of hoses. So some items that we always love to receive, if they're in good working condition: hoses, hand tools, tools both for gardening and construction, soil, some amendments, remember we're organic, tomato cages, fencing or irrigation materials, canning and food preservation materials, landscape cloth, tarps, beekeeping supplies, seeds, etc. You get the point. And I know that I'm speaking right now to a lot of passionate and experienced gardeners. And I also told you that we have a greenhouse, and we're trying to start our own greenhouse program where we grow starts, especially culturally relevant starts, for our community members. But we always are very happy to receive the beautiful starts grown by master gardeners and other community members. So we never are not looking for tomato starts. Also chiles, spicy chiles, we're always happy to find a home for them. If growing out starts for us is something that you'd be interested in doing, and maybe you want ideas about what seeds or what varieties to grow, please reach out to me or Elva. Our emails are there. And then lastly, if you have experience or a specialty that you'd like to share with our community or contribute to the community garden space, I don't know, I'll just share some examples. You're a beekeeper, you have experience with irrigation, you know a lot about rain barrels. Those sorts of things are helpful for our community spaces, and we appreciate volunteers that have these special skills. All right. I think we can take questions now. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave this screen.
Okay.
And yeah, thank you.
Great talk.
Great talk. Thank you. Oh.
I'll look here at the questions that we have. One person was wondering where the downtown location garden is, where it is downtown.
Yeah, we joint manage a property with the city of Eugene, so it's called the Skinner City Farm, and it is right along the river. It's at the corner of Cheshire and Washington. It's at the base of the Skinner's View. And we have, I would say, so we manage some of the plots within that community garden. And I would say just about 60% of the plots are now huertos, and about 40% are managed by the city.
Great.
Mhm.
Thank you. What are sizes of plots in your community garden?
Great question. The community garden plots are on average 15 by 20 foot. And we try to make sure that all of our gardeners have 2 plots, or all of our families have 2 plots, because at that point they're able to grow usually enough food to really make a significant impact on their purchases of produce.
You said that you provide lots of seeds or starts and that there are lots of vegetables that are unique. How do you decide what to provide, and how do you source them if it's not something commonly found in a local nursery?
Great question. We provide whatever's donated to us as the kind of base layer. So we used to receive seeds donation from Territorial Seeds. Now we kind of get them filtered through Food for Lane County. Sometimes Fred Meyer's. Different places will donate their bulk seed. We get them from individual gardeners in the community. And as far as the plant starts grow, we get them from nurseries. We get them from master gardeners. We get them from the urban farm at the U of O. And so we don't really have a say in what is coming to us from those, but really lovely. If we're trying to source something that is more specific, that's why we have a greenhouse. That's why we do a lot of seed sharing within our community. And that's why a lot of folks are getting seeds sent to them from their home communities, maybe in Mexico or Guatemala.
Great.
So it's definitely harder to source those, and that's why we need to grow them in our own greenhouse.
Great, thank you. Can you tell us about the program that you did not have time for? I'm so thrilled to hear about all of it. I will continue to support your work.
The programs I didn't have time for.
Yeah.
We also, maybe the Cambios business program. It's a 12-week business course, and for entrepreneurs, so you can start your own business. And that's a really cool class, because every single class they invite a Spanish speaking expert to come and speak about the topic they're talking about. So if they're talking about accounting, for example, they bring a Spanish speaking accountant. So people graduate with community contacts. There's other programs, and I invite you to go to Downtown Languages Facebook, Centro Latino Americano's website, or Huerto de la Familia's website. We are merged, but we haven't yet released our name, mission, and vision for the new merged organization. Please be on the lookout for that. So I know it's kind of confusing. We're saying like, oh, Huerto de la Familia or Centro Latino Americano. We are currently operating under the name Centro Latino Americano, but we're going to have a new name soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you know that Huerto was originally a Master Gardener project? A Master Gardener put that in, so they must know that something about that. So, what parts of Seed to Supper do you use? Do you have any problems with the S2S curriculum?
We pull paragraphs and sections out of the entire book. Elva and I go through the book. We highlight what's useful. We highlight what we think might apply to our gardeners, and then we kind of share that. So we teach a cut down version, right, of the program with extra information, because we add things in that's specific to our garden program, that's specific that we think our community members might be interested in. And yeah.
Okay. Are your gardens open to the general public, even folks outside of Lane County?
Yes, they're open to the general public and folks outside of Lane County, but you would have to commute, and it's really hard to maintain a community garden that's more than 5 miles away from your house. And I would also like to say that all of our community gardens have wait lists. So we're pretty full. We're pretty popular.
Sounds like it. Do you use compost in your gardens?
We do. So we have and not in all of the gardens do we have compost in an organized way. In all of the gardens, people compost maybe in their plots, and in some of the community gardens, we do have organized community composting. So it just depends on the site and the landowner and the interest of the community members.
Okay.
Do we
yeah.
medicinal plants and herbs? We
What was
do.
that? Okay.
We do grow medicinal plants and herbs. Again, people are able to grow whatever they would like in their own plots. And we also find that folks are very interested in that. So in the community spaces, we plant medicinal plants and herbs. We have a medicinal plants group, which is, they really are into it. And yeah, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, well, right now, one of the projects that I have on mind, it's like Gatlin says, that is a members that has amazing skills, you know, from backgrounds, our families. And it happened to this lady from Church or Garden. She knows a lot about medicinal plants. So I'm trying to recruit her to start a group of members to learn about all these medicinal plants, because a lot of us, we know them, but we don't know the properties, you know, all the benefits that they have. So, and especially me also, because I'm new in all this world, so there is a lot of medicinal plants that I don't know for what is the purpose of them. So this lady, I'm trying to gather this lady so that way she can teach us as much she knows. So I'm trying to create this small community garden in the Churchill, to be specific, to plant a variety.
Like a demonstration garden.
Yeah, demonstration garden, and also eventually kind of to gather members and then learn how to use them. So it is more than we can do. We can learn how to do oil from them. You know, a lot of stuff that we can do with them. So that's an idea for now, but hoping that soon it's going to be come to reality.
Okay. How do you recruit families for S2S?
We don't recruit families for Seed to Supper. We teach the kind of cut down version of Seed to Supper, our adapted version of Seed to Supper. We teach it to all new gardeners and any of our program members who are interested in attending.
Okay. Next couple of questions are kind of the same, but how can organizations like the Master Gardeners best be used to help your organization? At present, relatively few volunteers in our programs are bilingual or bicultural, but we know a lot about growing things in Oregon.
Yeah, you can continue to donate your plant starts to our program. That's really helpful. We have received plants that are left over from the Lane County Master Gardeners plant sale in the past. That's something that's really quite a boon for us, and they're always beautiful and sturdy and greatly appreciated. We also have individual connections with a number of master gardeners who by themselves grow plant starts for us, and that's really lovely. And then as far as sharing your expertise, all of our classes and workshops, we try to offer not translated. We try to offer them in Spanish as the first language. But sometimes if there's a skill that we, within our community we don't have, we definitely we get community translators to translate. So I reach out to Erica and Jet from the Extension Services semi-frequently to be like, to find somebody. When we need somebody with a specific skill, we reach out and see if anybody can teach us, and that's another way that you can support.
Great, thank you. Can somebody walk through the gardens for general knowledge of what the gardens look like?
Yes, you can contact us at the emails that we provided and we can lead you on a garden tour.
Okay. Would you be interested in contributing your experiences with, don't know Spanish very well, I'm sorry. Siembra la Siena?
Siena is Seed to Supper in Spanish.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But
To an advisory group that is making recommendations for Seed to Supper now that it is housed at OSU.
We'd love to.
Anything else out there that people are like to ask?
Yeah, we would love to.
Okay. You have anything else you'd like to tell us before we sign off?
Yeah, really quick, if you guys want to do a Romina, if you saw our emails, please get in contact with us. We'd love to speak with you. I'm going to share my screen so fast, and I'm going to do, for all of you plant folks out there, a quiz.
There you go. That's a good one.
All right, here's some foods, some food plants that we grow. I'm curious if anybody knows what this is. These are popular and commonly grown in our community gardens.
And so tasty too.
You know what? I can't see the comments.
Says quinoa.
Quinoa?
Yeah, that was one. Something.
It looks like it, actually. It does look like it. Amaranth looks like it. This is lamb's quarter, but we call it quelites, or like wild greens. Lamb's quarter. You'll see that in a lot of our community gardens, and a lot of folks maybe consider this to be a weed, but a lot of our gardeners grow it intentionally. It's really healthy. It's really delicious. You can eat it raw when it's like this. You can maybe saute it similar to kale once it gets bigger, and it's beautiful. All right, here's another one, but I can't see the chat.
I'll see if anybody says anything. I'll let you know.
Okay, this plant's very abundant. We planted 2 different plants, and it took over, I think, 6 15 by 20 foot plots. It likes to grow on fences.
Somebody put
Related to
like coyote.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Okay, and the last but not least, it's a leguminous. It's an annual here.
Anybody have any guesses?
You can eat in tamales.
It's good in tamales.
Somebody put fava, but
It's related, I'm sure. They're both legumes. Okay, this one is chipil or chipilin.
okay.
That's all I got for you guys. Any other questions?
A lot of people are saying what a great talk it was. So just say before.
Oh, thank you all.
And wonderful. Thank you so much for your work and presentation. One is from a master garden in Douglas County. So
Awesome. Well, thank you for attending. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Just wanted to mention that we have a lot of people coming here from outside of Lane County too, that have expressed a lot of interest in replicating perhaps what you're doing in their counties. So
Great.
you may hear something from them as well. So just to mention that.
Lovely.
That's amazing.
But a lot of great feedback from people that have been attending about your presentation and the work that you're doing. People have been really impressed. And
Thank you so much for attending.
we'll
Feel
have to
free to
see how we can reach out to you more as a Master Gardener program, and maybe have a tour of your garden arranged for the Master Gardeners locally. So we'll reach out to you about that.
That'd be lovely.
Thank you.
Great.
So I think that's all the questions that we have, right, Jen?
Let me see if there's anything. Sometimes they put them in the chat, but all I see is thank yous and great program. Amazing program.
Well, we really appreciate the two of you taking the time this evening to talk to us and to familiar program, because a lot of us were familiar with Huerto de la Familia, but really didn't know much about the work and garden. So it's really impressive how many partnerships you have with the community. I am totally impressed. So thank you again for taking the time and effort, put this together, tell us about the work that you're doing.
1999 is the year.
For what?
The year that Sarah Cantrell started Huerto de la Familia.
Yeah.
I saw in the chat, 1999.
Oh, it's been around for quite a while then. Great. So I think, is that all the questions? I think it is. Jan?
Yes, yes. Still just
A lot of thank yous coming in.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to mention to people that are still here that on October 18th, we will have our next monthly seminar series. Will continue, and it will be called Make Your Garden into a Pollinator Haven. And we'll have Matthew Shepard from the Xerces Society speak to us about that topic, about pollinators. So join us back for that. And again, thank the two of you for all the work that you do in our community.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.